A unique case of a fundamental fountain. The Lleons fountain is a unique case of a monumental fountain in Hispania. The Roman Tàrraco. The Lleons fountain is located in Tàrraco, Roman city, declared by UNESCO since the year 2000 World Heritage. Has a volume of more than 2 million visitors per year. Between their monuments, the wall is to be highlighted because it's the oldest and most extensive element of Roman culture outside the Italic peninsula. The Forum of the province is the largest plaza of the Roman world, even the Roman Forum. In some points, the definitely walls have a conserved height of up to 14 meters. The circus is one of the best conserved of the Roman world. Tàrraco and water. The Roman city of Tàrraco gave the water supply a great deal of importance and did not save resources to ensure its provision and maintenance. From its Iberian origins, the water supply to Tàrraco had different origins and uses. Rainwater stored in tanks, water from the Gaià and Francolí rivers that reached the city through large conduits. An example of a part of these drives is the Bridge of the Devil or Aqueduct of Ferreras, and waters from wells and fountains. Within this last case, we must include the magnificent fountain of the Lleons. Situation of the fountain within the archaeological planimetry of Tàrraco. Nowadays, this fountain is located at the crossroads between Pere Martell and Ibiza streets, in the lower part of the city of Tarragona. From view's point of the old topography, the fountain is located outside the walls near the port bay at the mouth of the river Turquis, nowadays called Francolí River, and at the western foot sidewalk of the promontory occupied at Roman time by the Forum of the colony and previously for the Iberian settlement. The coastline was about 200 or 300 meters south of the fountain. Situation of the fountain. Reconstructive maquette of Tàrraco Roman city at the moment of its peak, the 2nd century after Christ, currently not represented. Fountain building has to be related to a voice from where it was shining, and it still continues to use water from the karst system located in the subsoil and known as the urban cave of Tarragona. The different constructive and identified phases during archaeological work have allowed us to confirm that this source was in use for at least 1,000 years. Phase 1. The first architectural evidence is from the second half of the 2nd century before Christ. The fountain is basically a rectangular and covered reservoir that captures the water of the rise before it, and there was a Doric portico that gave it a clear monumentality. It is about the architectural, monumental adaptation of a natural voice. Parallel to this type of fountain exists, but all outside the Iberian Peninsula. We are faced with an exceptional fountain of a unique case in the Western Mediterranean. Reconstruction of the first phase of the fountain. Phase 2. Subsequently, in Emperor Augustus' days, and to avoid contamination of the water, the fountain was renovated and shared in a cistern with 3 heads and lion torsion shafts on the main facade. The surrounding space is transformed, and so the fountain gets integrated into the urban plot of the port and near one of the main access roads to Tàrraco. This route will be known from the medieval period to the present day as the Fonteta Street. Reconstruction of the second phase of the fountain. Facade sack of the Fountain of the Lleons. Explanatorization of the water filtration, collection and distribution system. General views of the fountain. Views in detail of the different springs of the fountain. Detailed view of the original paving of the fountain, the channeling of water inlet to the interior of the natural spring where the water comes. Phase 3. The fountain continued in use until the second half of the 3rd century after Christ, although with numerous reforms. The lions' heads were deleted and the assortments became simple perforations. The covering shape was replaced. On the other side, a hillside and an access to the interior of the cistern was built. Between the end of the 3rd century and the 5th century, different levels of collapse and destruction of the fountain are documented, which meant that the water no longer flowed through the observers, but was taken directly from the top of the tank as if it were a low. Reconstruction of the 3rd phase of the fountain. Other monuments related to the world of water located both inside and outside the city, which for various reasons have not been valued or are far from the city center. Sanctuary of the Nymphs at Cristòfol Colom Street, excavations low on documentation and inaccessible. Cuniculus at Gasometer Street, inaccessible. Public terms of San Miquel 33 Street, excavated but not visited. Great monumental nympho, next to the semi-excavated Roman theatre, currently outside of the theatre visit. Aqueduct of Ferreras on the Valley Road, it obligates displacement, about 4 kilometers from the city center. Well, we are faced with a monument that is unique in the whole Western Mediterranean as an element that is preserved in its entirety, which allows its correct interpretation and functionality. It does not need a global context since it is a monument that is understandable by itself. It is located within the city in a private space, closed and covered. It is easily accessible and the space where it is located is large enough to make it a first-class museum. It can be perfectly included in an archaeological route on the lower part of the city, where the theatre would be located, in the process of museum remodeling, the Colony Forum, the Steam Garden, etc., the Central Park Basilica, and the Paleochristian Necropolis. Due to its central location in a possible archaeological route on the lower part of the city, the fountain itself becomes a well-known tourist and cultural attraction to discover and understand the problem of water supply in an ancient city. In addition, it can be put into operation again.